this is where I give most of my piano lessons, here on this nice Baldwin. Great piano. I love this piano. It's got a nice bright sound. So when my students are first learning their scales, the keys are relatively easy to press down. And you might ask, what age group do I teach? Well, I like to say that I teach 8 to 80s. And I have adult students and kids alike. And why don't I start them too much before 8? Well, it depends. Now, if your kid is going to the piano or your keyboard every day and playing all the time, and they seem to have a natural inclination for it, then I might take your son or daughter on at a younger age. But usually what I'm concerned with is that their fingers are strong enough to play the keys and get the independence of the 5 fingers. And it's trickier than it sounds for a youngster. On the other hand, kids can be like sponges, and if you start hearing the music and learning to count, it's beneficial for them to start at a young age. Studies have proven that music lessons at a young age can make you smarter in all of your aspects of life for later on. Music lessons are a great thing to do. Also, you might ask, do we use a method book? Well, I've tried them all, but I usually like these Piano Adventures by Nancy and Randall Faber. And I also like to use the lesson book, the technique book, performance. I like the performance because the pieces are more geared towards a recital and impressive sounding. And I also like to use the theory book. I'm a big proponent of learning all your scales and all your chords and learning how to read music. And sometimes I'm asked to teach Suzuki. I am not qualified for that. However, I try to integrate ear training into the lesson. For example, if I teach you the chords, major, minor, diminished, I try to get the student to learn to start hearing the chords and the scales, whether you're in major or minor. I think it's very important. As far as learning to play by ear, I had some students that are gifted that way, but I find that can also be a limitation in that if you only can play what you hear, what if you get a piece of music that you've never heard before? How are you going to play it? Unless you have to learn to read the music. So I am kind of a stickler regarding learning to read music and know your theory. As far as how much are you supposed to practice, well, I have some students, my typical lesson is a half-hour lesson, and then I figure you should practice a half-hour a day at least if you take a half-hour lesson. Now I have some students that get more motivated and they take an hour lesson, and we might be doing more classical type of music, and then you should practice at least an hour a day, if not 2 hours. And to me, practicing is a luxury. I wish I had more time to practice. I would practice every day for hours if I could. But I'm too busy teaching the lessons and recording. And I also teach at the Northwestern Michigan College, and I teach audio technology over there, so I'm quite busy with that. If you're interested in pursuing lessons for your son or daughter or yourself, I'd be happy to give you a free tour of my studio, and I can talk about the rates and my policies at that time. And you can contact me at dc@davidchown.com. And Chown is spelled C-H-O-W-N.